The stories, names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are real. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or deceased, places, buildings, and products is entirely intentional. In the realm of existential YouTube debates, two distinct yet equally passionate groups emerge: the Christians, who ardently defend their faith, and the skeptics, who question everything with a raised eyebrow. These are their stories.
How can we be sure that the New Testament and its authors are reliable? If all the information available about the apostles is limited to what is recorded in the Bible.
Actually, there is some historical evidence outside of the Bible that supports the existence of the apostles and the beliefs of the first Christians. One such example is non-Christian sources that mention Jesus Christ and his followers, including the Jewish historian Josephus and the Roman historian Tacitus. While these sources do not provide detailed information about the disciples, they do confirm their existence and the basic outlines of the gospel story.
Neither the Jewish historian Josephus nor the Roman historian Tacitus mentions Jesus Christ. To be correct, they reference Christian beliefs about Jesus. That is all they had to reference.
What?
That is false. Let's look at what Josephus actually wrote, shall we? About this time there lived Jesus, a wise man, if indeed one ought to call him a man. For he was one who wrought surprising feats and was a teacher of such people as accept the truth gladly. He won over many Jews and many of the Greeks. When Pilate, upon hearing him accused by men of the highest standing among us, had condemned him to be crucified, those who in the first place came to love him did not give up their affection for him. And the tribe of the Christians, who are named after him, are not extinct to this day. Testimonium Flavianum, and is found in Josephus' Antiquities of the Jews, Book 18, Chapter 3, Section 3. Festus was now dead, and Albinus was but upon the road, so the high priest assembled the Sanhedrim of judges, and brought before them the brother of Jesus, who was called Christ, whose name was James, and some of his companions, and when he had formed an accusation against them as breakers of the law, he delivered them to be stoned. But as for those who seemed the most equitable of the citizens, and such as were the most uneasy at the breach of the laws, they disliked what was done. Antiquities of the Jews, Book 20, Chapter 9, Josephus. Now let's check out Tacitus. Nero fastened the guilt of the great fire of Rome and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilatus, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Annals by the Roman historian Tacitus. You claimed that neither Josephus nor Tacitus make any mention of Jesus Christ. I counted 11 references about him, by the way. You also falsely claim that they only reference Christian beliefs about Jesus because that is all they had to reference. It would seem though that both Josephus and Tacitus acknowledge not the belief but the reality of Jesus Christ as some kind of teacher and or wise man that was accused by his fellow people and crucified by Pontius Pilate.
Child, are you not aware that the text by Josephus is considered an interpolation? It is highly unlikely that he actually wrote it. That passage is in fact evidence that early Christians were not hesitant to make up lies to defend their beliefs, a tradition which continues to this day.
Boy, That escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
I am well aware of this, which is why the text I chose is a reconstruction of the Testimonium Flavianum, that attempts to strip away the later Christian additions and reconstruct the original passage. Did you not realize that, my boy?
Josephus and Tacitus were merely documenting Christian beliefs, they were not validating any of them. Note that neither of them converted to Christianity based on these claims. Name one thing Josephus or Tacitus mentions about Jesus that was not already a Christian belief. Name one thing they say about Jesus that is not found in the Gospels. Name one source they cite about Jesus.
Yes, it's a shame that they didn't convert. May God have mercy on their souls. I completely agree with you that the New Testament is the authority text on what we do know about the apostles and Jesus Christ. This is to be expected though, is it not? It would be absurd to think that there would be a more detailed text outlining the lives of the apostles that wasn't included in the biblical canon. If such a text did indeed exist, then it would already be in the New Testament. In my initial argument, I contend that there are indeed non-Christian sources affirming the existence of the apostles. These sources, I argue, lend support to the fundamental elements outlined in the New Testament narrative. So as you can see, you have been fighting against claims that I never made, a straw man of your own making if you will. Cheers for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. You can also subscribe to the channel, and get notified of new content by clicking the bell icon. But even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you will be blessed. Have no fear of them, nor be troubled. But in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. 1 Peter 3:14-15